In a village surrounded by green fields, there lived a young girl named Serena. The village was peaceful, with small houses and farms spread across the land. Serena's family had one of the larger farms, and they lived comfortably. Serena's father worked hard every day, tending to their crops and animals. Her mother spent her days cooking, cleaning, and taking care of the house. Serena had 3 older brothers, but they were often too busy with their own things to help much. Serena was kind and helpful. She took care of the garden, helped her mother with cooking, and worked on the farm alongside her father. Everyone in the village admired Serena. She was strong and beautiful, always smiling, and always willing to help others. But there was one thing about Serena that sometimes made her sad. She felt like no one truly saw all the work she did. Her brothers, though kind in their way, were used to Serena doing everything. They didn't want to work as hard as she did. They relied on her for everything, from feeding the animals to cleaning the house. The eldest brother, Ravi, was the worst. He was always lounging around, enjoying the food that Serena prepared for him, and never helped her with the farm. When their father was around, Ravi would tell him, "Don't worry, Serena will take care of everything." Serena didn't mind helping at first, but over time, it became too much. There was so much to do, and no one was there to share the work. Serena felt tired all the time, but she never complained. One evening, as Serena was carrying a heavy basket of vegetables from the garden to the house, her mother noticed her tired face. "You've been working hard all day, Serena," her mother said, frowning. "You need to take a break. Let your brothers help." Serena smiled softly. "I'm fine, Mother. I don't mind." But her mother shook her head. "No, this has to change. Ravi, you are the oldest. You should help your sister more. It's time for you to become a man and take your responsibility." Ravi, who was sitting near the fire, grunted. "Why should I? Serena can do everything. It's easy for her." That night, Serena's mother tried to talk to Ravi more seriously, hoping to convince him. But Ravi didn't listen, and neither did the other 2 brothers. Serena's frustration grew, but she didn't know what to do. A few weeks after the argument with Ravi, Serena's father became very ill. He caught a fever that didn't go away. He was weak and couldn't do anything on the farm. Serena's mother was worried, and the whole family was affected. Without her father's strong hands on the farm, everything started falling apart. The crops began to wilt, and the animals were not being taken care of properly. Serena worked even harder to keep the farm running. She woke up early, fed the animals, worked in the fields, and then came home to help her mother with cooking and cleaning. But it wasn't enough. The farm was struggling, and Serena felt like she was drowning in her responsibilities. "Why don't you do something, Ravi?" Serena said one day, after she had spent the entire morning gathering firewood. "Why don't you help with the farm?" Ravi just laughed. "I've been busy with my own things. Serena, you've always taken care of everything. It's easier for you." Serena's frustration boiled over. "It's not easy. I can't do it all by myself." But Ravi didn't care. He was too comfortable to work hard. The other two brothers, Samir and Raghav, were just as lazy. They made excuses, and soon they stopped helping Serena altogether. Serena's mother became even more worried. "Ravi," she said, "you are the oldest. It's time for you to become a man. We need you to help the family. You need to find work, start a family of your own. You need to bring stability to our lives." But Ravi only shook his head. "I have Serena. She will do everything for us. Don't worry." Serena's mother was heartbroken. She had hoped Ravi would step up, but it seemed he would never change. One afternoon, after spending the entire day in the fields, Serena went to the village well to fetch water. She felt tired and frustrated, as she had so many things to do and no one to help her. As she filled her water jug, she heard a voice behind her. "Serena?" It was her younger brother, Aman. Aman was the youngest of her brothers, and unlike the others, he wasn't lazy. He was smart and always paid attention to Serena. He admired her strength and kindness, and he was different from the others. While his older brothers took Serena's help for granted, Aman saw how hard she worked. "Aman," Serena said, her voice tired. "I'm so tired. I don't know what to do anymore. Our father is sick. The farm is falling apart, and no one is helping." Aman's face softened. He walked over to her and gently touched her arm. "Serena, I can see you're struggling, but I don't want you to give up on your dreams. I know you've always put everyone else first, but you deserve more." Serena's eyes filled with tears. "What can I do? I can't leave them. I have to help." Aman smiled gently. "You don't have to do it all by yourself. I'll help. I'll take care of the farm, and I'll make sure the family is all right. But you should leave and follow your own dreams. You deserve to live your life, Serena. You can do whatever you want." Serena looked at Aman, surprised by his words. She had never thought about leaving. But in that moment, she realized he was right. She didn't have to stay forever. She could make a change. She could live her own life. Serena sat on the edge of the well, holding the water jug in her lap, her mind racing. She had never thought about leaving the village before. It had always been her home, the place where her family lived, and she had always been the one to take care of everything. But now, Amen was asking her to leave. He wanted her to follow her own dreams. Serena's heart felt heavy. She loved her family, and the thought of leaving them behind was painful. But she knew Aman was right. She was tired of being the one who had to do everything. She had her own dreams, dreams that she had buried for so long because of her responsibilities. Aman's voice broke through her thoughts. You deserve to be happy, Serena. You've worked so hard for everyone. Now it's time for you to live for yourself. Tears welled up in Serena's eyes, but she wiped them away quickly. She didn't want Amen to see her cry. I don't know if I can leave them. What if something happens? What if they need me? Amen smiled softly. I'll take care of them. I promise. You don't have to worry about us. We'll be fine. Serena stared at the ground for a long time, thinking. Finally, she stood up and looked at Aman. I'll do it. I'll go. Aman hugged her tightly, his words full of support. You're making the right choice, Serena. Go and find the happiness you deserve. The next morning, Serena packed her few belongings. It wasn't much, just a small bag with a change of clothes and some food for the journey. She kissed her mother goodbye, telling her she was going to the town for a while. Her mother didn't fully understand, but she knew Serena had made up her mind. Serena walked out of the house, the sounds of the village fading behind her. As she made her way down the dirt road, she felt both nervous and excited. It was the first time in her life that she was doing something just for herself. For so many years, she had been responsible for everyone else. Now, she was finally taking a step toward her own future. The journey to the nearby town was not easy. It took Serena several days to reach the bustling town, but she was determined. The town was bigger than her village, full of shops, people, and noise. Serena felt overwhelmed at first, but she quickly reminded herself that this was her new life, a life where she could make her own choices. She found a small bakery near the center of town and knocked on the door. The owner, a kind woman named Mrs. Jenny, opened the door and greeted her warmly. Serena explained that she was looking for work and had experience baking from helping her mother at home. Mrs. Jenny smiled and offered her a trial run. Serena quickly proved herself. She worked hard, kneading dough, mixing ingredients, and baking fresh bread and pastries. The bakery's customers began to notice her skill and gentle nature. Mrs. Jenny was impressed by Serena's dedication and offered to make her an apprentice. As Serena worked at the bakery, she began to feel a sense of belonging. She made new friends, and the kind baker's family treated her like one of their own. Serena spent her days learning everything about baking, from the simplest bread to the most complicated pastries. She enjoyed the work and she was finally starting to feel like she was living for herself. Back at the family farm, things were changing. With Serena gone, Amen had taken over the responsibility of managing the farm. He worked tirelessly, waking up early to feed the animals, planting new crops, and making sure everything was running smoothly. Slowly, the farm started to recover. At first, Serena's eldest brother, Ravi, didn't care much. He continued to sit around, hoping Serena would come back to take care of everything. But as the days passed, he began to realize how much work Amen was doing. Ravi's laziness was starting to show, and his brothers, Samir and Raghav, noticed too. They had grown used to Serena doing all the hard work, and now, with her gone, they were left to deal with their own mess. Amen, however, was different. He was smart and determined. He took Serena's advice seriously, using the money she sent home to improve the farm. He hired some workers to help, and with the money from Serena's bakery earnings, the farm slowly began to thrive again. The farm's crops grew strong, and the animals were well cared for. But it wasn't just the farm that was changing. It was the family. Ravi, Samir, and Raghav, now seeing how hard Amen worked, began to feel guilty. They knew they had been lazy and relied too much on Serena. Slowly, they started to help out more, realizing that they needed to work together to keep the farm running. Months passed, and Serena's life in the town grew better and better. She became known for her delicious baked goods, and the bakery's reputation spread throughout the town. She had started making her own recipes, creating pastries that no one had ever tasted before. Her sweets became so popular that Mrs. Jenny suggested they open a second bakery in another part of town. Serena's life was finally taking shape. She was independent and strong, but she never forgot about her family back home. Every month, she sent money to Aman to help with the farm. She was proud of how much the farm had improved, and she knew it was because of the hard work Amen had put in. One day, Mrs. Jenny sat down with Serena after the bakery closed. "Serena," she said, "you've done so much here. You've worked so hard, and I think you're ready for more. What do you think about opening your own bakery?" Serena smiled, feeling a spark of excitement. "I think I'm ready. I've always wanted to have my own place. I've learned so much from you, Mrs. Jenny. I think I can do it." With Mrs. Jenny's support, Serena opened her own bakery in a busy part of the town. It was a small shop, but it quickly became a success. People came from all over to taste Serena's famous pastries, and soon Serena became known as one of the best bakers in the town. Back at the farm, things were finally looking up. Amen had taken the lead in managing the farm, and with Serena's support, the farm was doing well. Ravi, Samir and Raghav, now realizing how much they had relied on Serena, began to work harder. They helped Amin with the daily chores, and the farm flourished. One day, as Serena was baking in her new bakery, she received a letter from Aman. He wrote that the farm was doing well, and that the family was now working together. Ravi, Samir, and Raghav had finally understood the importance of hard work, and they were supporting Amin. The family was coming together again. Serena felt a wave of relief and happiness. She knew she had made the right choice by leaving, but she also knew that no matter where she was, her family would always be a part of her life. As Serena's bakery continued to grow, she often sent money back home, making sure the family had everything they needed. And although she lived far away from them now, she was always there for her family. She made sure they never struggled again.